Welcome, Holly. Holly, it's your turn.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jay Solers, for invitation. Today, I will present one topic about global solar PV opportunities and challenges in 2025. My section will break down by 4 parts. The first one goes to the trends of global energy technologies. The second one goes to details on how global solar market look like in this few years. And also we want to dig out some details on the region and key countries market outlooks. 2025 still be a quite remarkable year for clean energy technology as well. It's facing a lot of challenges, but also we saw the opportunities in this area still have the momentum. Actually, in last week, our company holding one important energy conference in the US, and it's called Sierra Week. And after the discussion for the global energy trends, it mentioned energy at the crossroad. The government's actually acting more leading significant changes in the energy and the climate policies, and with some reassessing the pace of the energy transition. And also, affordable and secure energy for economic growth is being weighted and also, in some cases, prioritized over the sustainability. The new energy systems will not afford linearly. It will take multidimensional forms. So that brings a lot of assumptions to the energy to different ways with different types of energy. And also in the different parts of world shaping by the changes of the capability and priorities to the energy world. So for the clean energy technology, we also finding the investment in this area still keeping the racing in the past few years, and also the momentum will keep going on. The other way is, even though there are some countries and the regions they are hesitate to go into the clean tech, but they are still believe the targets for the clean momentum still kept going on. So the policy to raise investment still keep going. The other part of renewables still have the cost reduction and efficiency improve in their drivers, the demands coming to the sectors. Except the cost reduction, and that's making some emerging market demand booming after the quickly reduction on the solar panels and batteries, energy storage become low cost, and making those emerging market demands accelerate in recent years. But in the other side, the challenges for the renewables still coming to the world is the share of renewables become increasing quickly in past few years, and how to balancing with the unstable source of energy and power to the system, and brings a lot of discussions recently. The secondly is some issues with supply chain pricing. Quite fluctuate in the past few years, and give some profitability issues with the supply chain companies and after the overcapacities. And then the demand from some regions or the major market has some different pace, because like Europe and US, the one of two big regions and countries, they are start to uncertainty for their futures renewable investment and policy trends, that making some uncertainty for the market. The finally is the raising trade barriers, and also increasing the localization for different countries' supply chain requirements, and bring some cost issues for the global renewables. But we see the 2025 still be quite good year for clean energy technology. The reason is we still believe the investment for this area still keep going on. In the early this year, we published one insight called Top 2025 Top Trends in the 2025 of Clean Energy Technology. The first the first point we make is in 2025, clean energy technology will surplus the upstream oil and gas investment in the first hand, and solar will take the lead of clean energy technology. Is they accounting like over half of all clean tech investment, and also 2/3 of Rose clean energy installation volume is come from solar PV. So in 2025, we're forecasting like total 670 billion US dollars will be invested in these areas. So we still believe clean energy will keeping the rising momentums. As we mentioned in the challenger part, is with more renewable coming to the energy system, they will bring some challenges. The opportunity is the wind and solar as the dominate the energy part of value from the system. But the thing is, we need more balancing with the system, with the more flexibility and also the capacity market to bring some storage, battery storage, geothermal, and also other types of renewable coming to the system, making the new system more balancing with the unstable output for the wind and solar capacities. The other way to say clean tech energy, why that's drivers demand, because in the past nearly 2 decades, we're showing the low cost and affordable of those changing the energy transition make sense, because clean energy technology is decline. The cost decline is dramatically in the past 22 decades, leading by the solar and energy storage, which found in since 2010 till now nearly 85% of the cost coming from the energy, clean energy technologies. And this momentum, the cost reduction still be the key ways to driverless sectors bring more available for a lot of countries and different regions. So when we are discussing the changes of the market demand, they have two features. The one is in the past, in the early last few years, we finding the most of country or most of major solar market become more decentralized. From the utility scale to the DPV distribution solar generation. That's one trend, and later we will show the details about those features. And secondly is the emerging market coming to gain more growth compared with the major market. The major market is still taking the large shares of the global installations, but the growth from the emerging market is also remarkable afterwards. And from the supply chain side, we still believe China will be dominant the clean tech, not only in solar, but also like wind and energy battery storage part, and even the green hydrogen part. So some countries also release their localization requirements on clean tech supply chain, but we think although it becomes more diversified later on, but the domination or the major shares of this supply chain still dominated by China. Okay, then we move into the solar market. In 2024, actually, the global solar reached another new high with over 550 gigawatts above in this year, and gaining quite a lot of growth. But the same as after 2025 was the growth of market still under some challenges way. So in here, we're showing the details on the annual solar installations in the globally, and we break down by the key countries and regions. And you were finding in 2024, currently we are forecasting over 550 gigawatts level, and with still more than 30% of annual growth in 2024, and largely due to the mainland China. China will dominate this market and brings the new record for the solar installations in this year as well. And afterwards, we see the global market become more stabilized, and with uh, more stabilized growth, and like 10% in 2025. And also, the region of breakdown seems more dominant in the APAC regions, and especially in China. And also, the European and US market become more reasonable growth in these areas. However, we also discussion some kind of features of global solar installations shift. In the past few years, actually, we're statistics start from 2005, and in the last 20 years ago, we finding the solar installation in the different segments is quite different with what we see right now. In early stage, we see the utility scale is quite low portion in quite early time. But after the China become dominant, the solar market after 2013 become the number one countries in solar installations. The shares of utility scale actually booming quickly, and till the 2016 to 2020 period, the utility scale cover like nearly 60%. But after 2021, when we see the big country already going to the grid parity in the utility scale, you will see the more DPV coming to, I mean, after a lot of the country there, don't have the feed-in tariff policy, and the driver of the demand is a little bit switch from the utility scale to DPV. And afterwards, we are thinking the global demand will kind of balance with half of utility and half of DPV. And also from the regional level, you will find the shares also changing dramatically. China since 2030 become the largest solar installation countries and still dominant list areas in the utility scale. And also other region like the Europe and US still be the main region and countries to dominate the utility scale projects. But from the emerging market like Middle East and Africa countries, they are gaining more shares in more volumes of the PV utility scale. Another way is when we look at global solar installation, we're finding there are some countries always coming to with kind of a surprise, such as in 2020s, we saw Vietnam market become quite booming quickly, only 1 year with their feed-in tariff policy drivers. But after 2021, we see like Brazil, South Africa, and in last year, the Pakistan market also gains a lot of attention to the global installations. The reason behind that one is we saw the cost reduction for solar PVs quickly or dramatically, and brings some countries' demand is more incentive for those installations. And the other thing is some countries with a lower grid connection ability. I mean, the grid capacity is lack of development, and making solar plus storage become more available for those countries to adding the power to fulfill their power demand growth. Okay, then we take a look on the connection numbers for solar PV tier to 2024. In here, we're significantly seeing the China mainland is covered like nearly half of the global solar connection number tier 2024, with 886 gigawatts connections in tier last year, and China dominant the solar installations. And with total connection for the globally level is around 1,855 gigawatts AC tier 2024, and the remaining countries like US, Indian, and some Asian and European countries leading this market. From the DC way is around 2020 gigawatts. So it's kind of a snapshot to give you the key message on how those market perform in the past few decades. And closely look at 2025's number. China still dominant with solar installations with over 300 gigawatts levels planning to install in this year, and followed by US and India. The remaining is coming from the European and Middle East and some Asian countries in the shares. And actually, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan is the new market, actually joined the top 10 market since last year. And we see the trend of rest of world shares increasing significant compared with last few years. It's accounting like the 30%, nearly 30% of global installation, and the diversify of solar market become quite important features of installations. Okay, with the picture we're showing in the 2024 connection numbers, it gives quite a lot of colors on what mainland China positioning in the global solar market. That's we deep looking on the China market right now and see list the granted markets in solar installations will happening in the past and what will be happening in 2025. In year 2024, the NEA released 278 gigawatts AC solar was connected in last year, and brings the cumulative solar of connection reached 886 gigawatts. So it's covered like half of global solar's biggest market. And in 1 year, 378 is another remarkable year for China install a solar market as well, because it's like a huge amount. It's actually the simple way comparison. This is actually in 2024, China already installed whole cumulative solar in the US, because like last few slides mentioned, US cumulative installation of solar is like 193. So China reached 1 year and reached the US cumulative solar installations. And from the segment breakdown, we see the China have some switched from previously the early state is that we have a feed-in tariff since 2030, and then the utility scale is dominant the China demand. Afterwards, after 2021, the big feed-in tariff program is coming to the end, and we're funding the DPV, the distribution solar PV, accounting more shares in this in this market. So in the future, we still believe the majority of installation numbers volume is still coming from the utility scale, with more 3 rounds of renewable energy base coming online. The utility scale still covers like more shares and volumes in this market. But the same as we're finding the rush installation actually happening this year. And later I will give some more colors on 2025, our forecast. And also list a huge amount of installation with the renewables coming to the market brings some challenges with China as well. So in the left-hand chart, the map showing the wind and solar's different province level of installation capacity and that shares and wind and solar capacity accounting to those province, the power mix. The power capacity mix, like in such as in Qinghai, this province like adding like 50 gigawatts of wind and solar capacity, and is counting like 74% of this province power capacity. So the highly penetration of solar and wind with renewable also brings some challenges for those less demand, but with the highly depending on the transmission line province, they have some bottleneck with the curtailment rate with the solar and wind, and also how to transmission roads renewable to the central or the eastern coast of China is bringing some challenges into the power system as well. So that's why from the solar side, we mentioned few provinces also have a reaching quite high level. Like we mentioned, Qinghai is another the higher penetration rate of solar as well. It covers like 55% of solar in their uh, power capacity, and also in Hebei, we saw there's like 43% of uh, their power capacity is coming from solar. So those provinces they were facing not only the transmission line barrier bottleneck, but also some areas with a huge amount of DPV, like residential and DPV coming onto CI sectors, DPV coming to the line. The consumption of the is renewable also facing the challenges. And that's why we're in this year 2025, China have released two important policy in the first 2 months. In the first 2 months, actually, in the January, we announced the kind of the key policy regarding with the DPV, and that's have the deadline for the April 40th and for the large CI sectors, the probably some projects afterwards will not be connected, and that means not guaranteed with the power generation on the grid. And after that, in the early February, we also released another pricing policy regarding with renewable will be on the market highs of a whole pricing schemes. So these two policy will drivers 2025 years of solar demand. In general, we are still believe 2025 will be a rush order year, a rush installation year for China Solar in the first half, and we will see the first half will quite dominant with the CI sector and DPV sectors of demand to install in the first half, or especially Q2 of this year. And in the final quarters, we still have a large demand driven by the renewable energy meg base. And that's why we believe in the Q4, the utility scale demand will putting the installation to another record. So totally 310, and this the pattern of demand will be also impact with supply chain pricing as well. And we found after Spring Festival, the supply chain pricing actually has showing the increasing in different region and in the different market as well. But the pattern is the rush order coming to the first half, and we're still looking at how that will perform in the whole supply chain pricing later on. Okay, then we talk about Europe. Europe is still quite important overseas market for solar. And also they're quite important in the scheme of renewable as well. Even though there's some discussion, especially after their elections since last year, and different European countries have a different discussions on their energy plannings. But one thing we confirmed is for the 2030 and 40 targets, they still have a kind of the framework still the same. So for the renewable side, they didn't change too much on their performance or their targets on achieving high ratios of their power mix. So you are finding in the European plus three countries, their power demand grows, and from different region, from different sectors, you find the key industry and electricity the system is coming to growing, and also with transport is the demand power demand growth comes from that sectors. And also from generation by technology, solar plus storage and also plus wind still be the dominant the capacity coming to the European market. And Rose power mix also drives the solar installation for European market as well. From the country and regional breakdown for the European, you are finding the key market like Germany, Spain, and Italy still covers the shares is higher, but also the rest of Europe with the Eastern Europe coming to the line with the more installations, and the growth rate of those emerging European market also growing quickly in the past few years. So total European market, we still believe they will be around over 100 gigawatts per year of installations. And although the growth rate is a little bit lower comparison after the Russia-Ukraine crisis, but the same as the market size of the European market is still keep going. And also from the demand segment side, European is traditional DPV market, and the commercial plus storage residential market is still taking the high shares. And after 2026, the hydrogen also will be some gaining shares in this market, in this region. Okay, then we moving to the US. US market for renewable kind of also in a crossway, because we mentioned in early presentation, after Donald Trump became the president of US, the uncertainty for the IRA and uncertainty for their renewable energy planning or the trend policy is kind of uncertain for those countries. But we found another interesting story is when Donald Trump is before he win this elections, what his supporting zone of investment is quite reliant on the renewable, including the EV product, EV, and also transmission part. So another way we want to say is the investment for those sectors still keep going on, and also the trends for the clean energy technology in US still be one of the drivers for their economic growth. So that's why, although they have some uncertainty for the IRA's total investment, but the installation for the solar, we believe in US still keep going on. And another record year for US is in 2024. They add like nearly 50 gigawatts of solar into the US and reaching quite another new high for this market as well. So from that momentum, we still believe US is still quite depending. Is quite the largest market in the world and still ranking number 2 in solar installations. And also the US solar market also depending on in the past still quite depending on how much module they can be imported before 2024. And the Southeast Asian market, US raising the tariff for Southeast Asian market.
Sorry, Holly. We have to wrap it up. So maybe due to the time schedule. Thank you.
Sure. I can just moving quickly in the final part. As we mentioned, talk about the key market, but we still need investigate more on renewable in the emerging market as well. And because we have a quite hot topic about global South countries, and those countries have a much higher power demand growth, but they have a lower capacity in these regions, in those countries. So we believe those countries and regions will be generate more demand for the solar installation in future, because they have a kind of quite a stronger demand growth, but without less with less without the profitability to adding more traditional fossil fuel energy coming to their system. And also from the bright picture for the different regions, if we excluding the key market like China and India in impact, we still believe in this region we see strong growth and also potentially to adding more solar into these regions. And also like Pakistan last year was gaining a lot of attractions, and we believe these countries they'll be not only one to gaining the shares in the solar installations. Also for the Americas, except US and EU funding, this region is still dominated by Brazil, but in the future there are more and more utility scale coming to this market. And also the same with the Middle East and Africa regions. This region we see a lot of players, especially Chinese player, including the EPC developer, was a dominant this market and engage with a lot of solar installations in this area as well. So Rose market we see quite a lot of potential to gaining the shares in the futures. And thank you. And that's my presentation.